Welcome to the belly of the beast, to the den of the Illuminati, home of the almighty media. That's how powerful we are, that's how influential we are, and we're not stopping anytime soon, so get used to it. This is the Black Ops division of Flow Sports. We're dropping nuclear bombs today.
Yeah.
She the baddie and she know it already. Shake a money maker, now it's raining like a...
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Who's Number One podcast. Another week, another great show we got here coming for you guys. Of course, my name's Reed. We got Corey over here holding it down. Connor Joshin in the back, man in the chat. Make sure you guys jump in the YouTube chat, jump in the Discord. Let us all know what's going on. And then, of course, we got the one, the only Hollywood Mike calling in from God knows where. What up, Hollywood Mike? Where you at these days?
Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Chilling in Airbnb. Got some exciting stuff to talk about. Well, we got 5 matches that we announced since the last week, right?
There you go. Just like we were saying, you know, who's number one? This train keeps on rolling. What did we announce last week?
Last week we talked about obviously the three main events, right? Bia Mesquita versus Luisa Montero, Natalie Ribeiro versus Fionn Davis, and of course Gordon Ryan versus Philip Rowe.
Mm-hmm. 3 crazy matches. I don't think any of you guys saw that coming through. The return of Gordon Ryan, Bia Mesquita versus, you know, the goats of women's jiu-jitsu here. You got Luisa Montero, Fionn Davis, and Natalie Ribeiro. Some great new talent as well. But we got some new matches to announce, or we already have announced maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but we got some more stuff to talk about here, Mike. Why don't you kick us off? What's the next match on the card that you want to talk about?
All right, we're probably going to announce the prelims first, right? We're going to announce the 3 prelims today. We got the 2 other matches on the main card to talk about. Levi versus Taza and Mikey versus Alarcon for the bantamweight belt. But you want to kick it off with announcing the prelims?
Or I guess let's talk a little bit about those 2 matches that you just mentioned first here. I think Levi versus Taza had everybody pretty jacked up when that one got released.
Maybe first we should talk about shaving our balls, which is an important topic. We can't forget to talk about that.
Absolutely. How did we forget? We just did that all together, all of us. We got the Lawnmower 4.0 here. Of course, Manscaped is a good friend of the podcast. They've been sponsoring us here for the last couple months. They're sponsored Who's Number One championships and everything like that. So make sure you guys are out there supporting Lawnmower 4.0, supporting the Manscaped brand. Of course, this stuff is super sick. We've been using it a couple months now. Mike's got it down there in Brazil. If you use promo code WNO, I believe you can get 20% off your Manscaped order. So make sure you guys put your order in there on manscaped.com. WNO, save you guys some money.
And free shipping.
And free shipping. Supports the podcast. What's up?
They sent some new shit to the office. Remember, we got that
Connor's got the weed whacker over there.
Ooh, I didn't even notice this.
Ball preserver, ball reviver. We got a whole bunch of shit. There's a guy, Sion, in our office is a big fan of it. He stole one of the boxes. He came over. He goes, "Oh, you guys got Manscaped? I use their ball reviver and ball preserver," and he was all about it. I don't know, it's some sort of gel that you rub on your nuts, but yeah, so we're all doing that now.
Connor, can you speak to experience? How's the weed? What is that? The weed whacker? What is it?
I don't know. I think this
the
goes
box
up my
is right
nose.
there.
Does it go up my nose?
Yeah, that's for trimming your nose hair.
Oh well, you know, I have a real problem with my nose hair, and this, let me tell you, this has really helped me out. Personally, it's helped me on dates. I don't have a fear of raising my head like that and showing a little some. Actually, shout out to Corey. He helped me hit the hard to reach spots right before we got on here. So
you want to make sure if you're tilting your nose up at something that you're not afraid of what's underneath there.
Guys,
that's important. Myself personally, I go through an American Psycho style ball routine every morning. I got 5 or 6 different steps that I go through with all these different treatments. But yeah, it's really important.
Well, I bet your wife appreciates it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife, I'll get her in here. She'll talk about it. But all right, shout out to Manscaped. Code WNO, 20% off and free shipping. Go out there, rub some ball reviver on yourself.
Get it. Absolutely. If Connor can get a date, then any of you guys can. So make sure you use who's number one. All right, WNO code. It's going to be sick. Let's get back to it, though. We're talking about who's number one. I'm still buzzing from who's number one championships, but, we don't worry. We got another who's number one coming. Wednesday, October 20th. We got to make sure to hammer that it's on a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday show. We announced 3. We just talked about Mikey Musumeci versus Richard Alarcon. Alarcon is going to be a bantamweight fight here. We got for the bantamweight belt. Mikey's going to be going after Richard and Mikey going after that one. And then Levi versus Taza is just an incredible matchup. What's the thought process for you, Mike, behind putting together Levi and Taza?
Well, let's talk Mikey and Alarcon first. I was thinking about sort of interesting because it's like Mikey bumped up like 20 pounds for who's number one championship. Now he's back down in his natural weight. He's 3-0 at this weight at who's number one, right? I think his 3 matches on who's number one have been at 135. He's been dominant in all of them. So it's like for his first title match is sort of tough because everybody near the top of the rankings he's already beat. So it's like we wouldn't get Alarcon. Alarcon's tough. Who did Alarcon beat at ADCC? Beat somebody good at ADCC.
Johnny Grippo.
Beat Gianni Grippo at ADCC. Very tough guy, very scrappy guy. So this is a tough one, though. I mean, Mikey's looked damn near untouchable at 135. He's got to be the heavy favorite to win this one. But, I mean, seeing Mikey Musumeci back in action, I'm sure he's going to be, just chomping at the bit to go after how things went for him at the Who's Number One Championship. And, this is going to be the first match of the card, actually. We're putting a title fight to kick things off. So it'll be Mikey versus Alarcon to kick off the event.
Corey, what are you expecting out of Mikey here? Like Mike said, obviously he is coming off of a loss. It's rare that we see him come off of a loss, but this is a big title fight. Richard Alarcon, not as many people maybe know about Richard, but Richard's game as they come. He's heavy top pressure. He's wrestler type of a guy. He's going to go at Mikey for sure. So what are you expecting from Mikey this time around?
Yeah, we don't see Mikey lose often, like you mentioned, and because of that, I expect him to really come out with a chip on his shoulder. I hope he does. I want to see some of that tenacity. We saw kind of that energy coming from him leading up to the Who's Number One championships, and I think now with his most recent match being a loss, I think he's going to come in hot, and that makes a great match for us. Looking at Richard Alarcon, who is chippy and gritty, and he's got a really really wrestling style game. He looks like he's in a wrestling match when he's competing. So I'm hoping we see that. I can't believe we're going to have 8 champions by the end of this. Right? By the end of this event, we'll have 8 Who's Number One champions.
We already got 5 champs defending the belt and everything like that, crowning some more. Love it. What does the fans think about this matchup, Connor? What do you think about this one?
Our boy Felicio says it's a great fight. They're joining us in the YouTube chat. If you're in the YouTube chat, not on the Discord, we'll drop that link there. We got our moderator, Steve. He was joining us for Who's Number One Championship, but he's in there now, and he said he's ready to kick some people out. So go ahead and get fired up in the YouTube chat, start saying wild stuff, and get kicked out by Steve. They think Mikey's going to get the win. I don't think anyone's lost too much confidence from Mikey's round 1 loss at Who's Number One Championship, especially because he was fighting up some weight. Now he's back down at 135, which seems a little bit more natural for him. I think everyone's excited for it.
Heck yeah. Mike, have you talked to Mikey at all? What kind of headspace is he in? I know you guys kind of go back and forth a lot. What's your gauge on Mikey? Where is he at?
Yeah, I talk to him too much every day. Got a rapid fire texter. But I love Mikey. He's ready to go, man. Right after the event, he just couldn't wait to get back out there. I think Mikey's a competitor. When Mikey loses, when Mikey does, even when he wins and he doesn't win the way he wanted to, he goes back and he starts working on it right away, and he's obsessed. Like we heard him talk about Gio. He already beat Gio. He's obsessed with breaking his leg a couple weeks ago when we talked to him, right? So it's like I think Mikey's going to go back to the drawing board and be really, really obsessed with going out there and showing how good he is in this match. I think he's going to stay at 135 for a minute. I think we'll see Mikey run things at 135. He's probably done bumping up and weight for a little while. But, Mikey's ready to go. The next day after the event, he was hitting me up wanting to do this match really bad. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Richard Alarcon, is a badass black belt, man. So he deserves this opportunity. He's been, grinding out there for a long time. We've seen him at ADCC trials. We've seen him at, Kasai. Of course, he competed in the bantamweight division there, had some big wins. I believe he beat guys like John Calistine and a few other guys like that at Kasai. So Richard is game as they come, I think, and this is not the best matchup, style wise for Mikey. I feel like, because of how physical, a guy Richard Alarcon is. So this could pose problems for Mikey, especially if he's kind of dwelling on what happened back at Who's Number One Championships.
Yeah, and I wonder how much Alarcon is using the Gabriel Souza match as kind of a roadmap, right?
Yeah.
Like Souza, Alarcon has a very pass-heavy, very physical style, and I wonder if Alarcon is looking at that match and kind of trying to find the map through Mikey's guard. Now, that being said, Mikey is an obsessive adjuster, right? So I'm sure he's going to be studying that match as well and finding every single hole, every single mistake he made, and rewriting his playbook.
Yeah, even
I
more.
would imagine. But with a lot of guys, you would think, right, like, okay, Gabriel exposed the hole in Mikey's game, like go out there and try the same thing. But I think with Mikey, that might be the hardest thing to do right now, just because with how scientific he is with his approach and how obsessive he is in correcting his mistakes. I think it's going to be tough to beat Mikey coming off a L like that, especially a bad loss. Sorry to cut you off, Reed.
No, yeah, you're definitely not going to beat him twice the same way, right? Like there was a hole in his game apparently, or something was exploited. You better bet that he is going to have that hole kind of shored up, filled in, because Mikey doesn't make the same mistake twice. And I think this type of matchup is a matchup that he kind of revels in to show that, no, this isn't a style that can beat me. I've been better. I've improved. So I think the perfect matchup for him. Love this one. And even more technical Mikey. That just sounds wild. That sounds wild to me.
You think, here's a question for you. We had the Dark Side Mikey call in a couple months ago. The Darth Rigatoni called in, hell-bent on destruction, on destroying people's limbs. Do you think that this loss at the Who's Number One Championship pushes him further into the dark side? Are we going to see him go full Darth Vader sooner or later? Maybe for this Richard Alarcon match.
Wow.
God,
wow.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, what do you think, Connor?
I hope we get that. I think after we saw him call in, I think Gio was right. I think we saw a little bit of the real Mikey. I think he has a lot more attitude than he's used to showing, and I hope we get more and more of it. I think it just takes people to put him back in the competition circuit as far as like he's not untouchable. I think that's what we learned at Who's Number One Championship. And now, in the same way, like Gio showed, his mental preparation isn't untouchable. He can be shooken up a little bit. So, man, this is exciting. The more we see that, the more Darth Rigatoni comes to join us and fuels the discord. I love it.
Backstage at Who's Number One Championships, it felt like every time I looked at Mikey, he was wearing a hood, and I think he might just be embracing that dark side, right? He's got the hood up. The hood's just going to get bigger and more kind of all-encompassing of his face.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part about it. You never know what can happen. Anybody can get submitted. Anybody can get upset. We saw that Who's Number One Championships. So tune in. That match is going to be crazy. But another match that I just absolutely love, might be like one of my favorite matches on the entire card, is this no-gi debut of Levi Jones-Leary, maybe the most interesting guy in jiu-jitsu out there right now, versus Oliver Taza, the kind of measuring stick of no-gi grappling. How good are
Who's number one gatekeeper?
yeah. So talk to me about this one, Mike. What's the thought process on putting this matchup together? How did Levi? I don't think a lot of people expected Levi to be on the card. A little bit known as more of a gi guy. What's the story here?
Levi is more known with the gi, right? I don't think he's done no-gi since like no-gi worlds as a purple belt or something. But we saw he was in Australia while he was out there training with Lachlan, working hard on his no-gi, and it's like it'd be interesting to get Levi in the mix, right? And he's around 170, so our go-to guy, our guy who's always down for whatever is Oliver Taza, right? He's a local Austin guy now too. I mean, this has a lot of similarities to Jonathan Alves taking the match with Taza, and I mean, we saw how that went. It didn't go good for Alves. Taza was pretty dominant in that win. So we'll see how Levi adjusted. If Levi has worked, I mean, obviously working with Lachlan, he'll have figured out some leg lock stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he's worked a lot on Bolo one out of leg locks. But Taza versus Levi is another question mark. We don't know much about Levi's no-gi game, and Taza's no-gi veteran, just won Euro trials. So yeah, I'm really interested in this one.
Corey, what are you thinking? Yeah, obviously always analyzing each of these guys' games. How do these guys match up?
Yeah, it seems like Oliver Taza really has been like the welcome party to Who's Number One, right? He welcomed in Jonathan Alves, and like you mentioned, Mike, it didn't go well for Jonathan because I'm sure Jonathan has a great leg lock game, but Taza's is really the gatekeeper of leg lock games, right? If you can't handle Taza's leg locks, you have a lot of work to do. And Levi has been working with Lachlan Giles, so I think there's definitely some things that I'm sure he's picked up from Lachlan, but doing it in a competition scene against one of the best leg lockers around in the 170 division is going to be a wake-up call, and kind of it could be a rude awakening for Levi if he's not kind of minding himself there. That said,
you think he's biting off more than he can chew?
I don't know. It's tough to call because we've seen Levi be just great in all aspects of gi competition. We saw him beat Lucas Lepre, right? We saw him beat Renato Canuto. He's got the game that's built for who's number one, but this as an initial no-gi match, it'll only be probably his second time doing no-gi in 4 or 5 years, is really, I mean, who knows what to expect, right? That's what makes this exciting.
Not much of a warm-up for him, really. You know, like you said, Taza, an elite leg locker. He showed that versus Jonathan Alves. He showed it versus Johnny Tama. You know, Taza is one of the best. He's put on some great performances on the Who's Number One stage. So, like I said, Levi, one of my favorites out there. So I'm excited to see him. Are you a Levi guy or are you a Taza guy,
Man,
Connor?
I don't know. I'm kind of caught because I love the gi athlete coming over and trying to do the no gi return. Mikey did it so excellently. I want it to happen again for Levi, but I do like Oliver Taza. He's been super great whenever he comes in, and he's a Who's Number One vet. So, you know, you got to show love to the guys that have been here on the come up. Now the Who's Number One championship is, you know, one of the premier places to be. Oliver Taza is someone who helped us build that. So, you know, shout out to my guy, but you know, how does Levi, how much leg lock experience do you need with Lachlan before you can really step into the high-level competition circuit with leg lockers like Oliver Taza? I don't know. The chat's a little bit divided. It looks like the YouTube chat's big fans of Levi, but the Discord is hopping on and saying he thinks Taza sends him back to the pajama party, as one of them said. So,
the pajama party.
Like, it's just like the Alves and Taza match. Everybody was sleeping on Taza in that one because Alves is so accomplished in the gi. And they just see Taza go out like against Johnny Tama, get his guard passed or whatever. But then, I mean, you can't sleep on Oliver Taza. Oliver Taza is really good in these rules. Yeah, he might give a guard pass here and there, but he goes for broke on these heel hooks. I mean, locked up some dangerous heel hooks on Alves. Beat him and Tama basically in the same way. Yeah, this one's a question mark. You don't know what the hell is going to happen.
Do you think Levi is going to exchange leg entanglements with him? Do you think he's going to wade into those, or do you think he's going to just try to stay away from them at all costs?
If I was him, I'd try and Ruotolo my way out of it. Try to bolo my way out of these things.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's easier than said, right? I mean, obviously Taza's got some really good leg locks entanglements too.
That seems like it would be Levi's best strategy, right? Is to invite the leg lock, knowing that he has a back take kind of waiting for Taza. You know, given the style we've seen from Levi, he's a bolo specialist, right? He's going to want to try and berimbolo any way he can, and doing it off of Taza's best, you know, Taza's A game is probably the best way for him to engage.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen these videos of Levi out there rapping in like Central Park and stuff like that? Running around with Spider-Man and stuff like that.
I love it. That's the kind of personality we need more of, you know? Get some of that. Got a little bit of swagger to him. That jiu-jitsu sometimes misses swagger.
Somebody here in the chat was asking if he's working with Eddie Cummings. I don't know what Eddie's up to, but I mean, I'm sure Levi's working pretty heavily with Junie on this stuff. I mean, Junie knows the leg lock game, and I'm sure Junie's doing a lot to get Levi prepared for this match.
Yeah, Eddie, haven't heard Eddie's name in a long time. In a little bit, I know for a while there he was training at Unity. Not sure if he still is. Been a while. I'm not sure. But love. What'd you say?
So the main card is pretty. So it's Mikey's kicking it off, then Levi versus Taza, then Fionn versus Natalie, then Bia versus Louisa, and then the exhibition match of Gordon versus Rowe, where it's like even if you tap, you keep going or whatever. But with that could be pretty damn exciting. But you want to announce these prelims? Now these prelims are pretty goddamn fire.
Let's do it. Yeah. Take hold. So we got 5-match main card, 3 title fights, plus the return of Gordon Ryan. But that is not all. Of course, we've got a prelim card that's going to be playing on YouTube for free right before the main card starts. So kick it off, Mike. What do we got? Who are we looking forward to on the prelims here?
I'll let Corey talk about the first one. I think Corey knows more about this Giant Slayer guy than I do. Corey, why don't you talk about the first match? This is one when I posted the prelims earlier, people were going crazy. People were like, "God damn, this first match is going to be fire."
Yeah, how can you not get excited about the Giant Slayer, Esteban Martinez, right? Esteban is one of the smallest guys in the competition sphere. He's a natural rooster weight. He's probably lighter than most rooster weights out there, but he is explosive. He's exciting. He's famous for his backflip passes over guards, right? He's just an energizer bunny. He doesn't stop, and he's up against Damian Anderson, who of course is a submission machine in his own right. He's very tactical, out of new wave, studying under Danaher, studying under Gary Tonin and Gordon Ryan, and really, one of the fastest up and coming, like, purple belts as you'd call him around, but like really, really quickly developing. His leg lock game is great. His takedowns are great. Recently tapped Gabriel Souza and Richard Alarcon at Emerald City back in July.
Yeah, man, love Damian out there. Didn't have the best showing at Who's Number One, but always an exciting match out of Damian Anderson. And this dude's been around the game for a long time. He's been a Gary Tonin purple belt for like 10 years, it feels like, Like, make no mistake, Damian's a black belt. Damian is elite. Damian's one of the best. And it's early still in his career, but he has opportunity, I think, to really prove that he could be fighting for one of these belts very, very soon, in my opinion. So that's a killer match. What do you want to say?
People forget, yeah, he went 0-2 at the Who's Number One Championship, losing to very tough opponents, Pato and Cisneros. But going into that, he had a lot of momentum after tapping a few people at Emerald City. He had beat Luis Quinones in a great match at Who's Number One. He was like a match away from a title shot going into the Who's Number One Championship. So don't forget, he was on a hell of a roll going into that. People seem to love this Giant Slayer guy. This dude's got a lot of fans for someone who's pretty young in the game. I think they just love the David versus Goliath aspect. Corey, how much does he weigh? This is going to be at 145. Is he going to be giving up some weight to Damian here? Is he smaller than that?
Esteban, I've seen him compete at roosterweight. He won no-gi pans as roosterweight. I would not be surprised if he's lighter naturally than roosterweight, which is 127. Yeah.
Wow.
No-gi IBJJF roosterweight's like 122 pounds or so. 120. It's low 120s, I believe, right?
But he frequently competes in absolute divisions, gi, no gi, whatever it is, and he does well. I've seen him win matches in the absolute. I've seen him hardly ever seen him submit in weight class or in absolute divisions. He's squirmy. He gets out of stuff, and he typically, counters attacks dead to rights into all of a sudden in attacking his own submissions.
Listen, there is nothing more gangster than being a rooster weight who regularly signs up for the absolute division and messes dudes up who are 100 pounds bigger than him, 200 pounds bigger than him. I've seen him in some crazy matches. They don't call him the Giant Slayer for nothing. It was an earned nickname, okay? So hell yeah, man. I love this one. What's the chat saying about the Giant Slayer?
The first time I ever saw the Giant Slayer, some of these positions he gets into are just shocking. He fights people that look like they're 3 times his size.
And he wanted this match, right, Mike?
I think that's how he made his name. You'll just be across the gym at an IBJJF, and you'll be like, "What the fuck is going on over there? Is that safe? Should they allow that to happen?" But then he holds his own with these dudes, right?
And he wanted this matchup, right? He was somebody that was kind of clamoring to get on.
I don't know. His friend Gabriel Souza reached out to me when I put out a call. Damian was supposed to be going against somebody else. Somebody had to pull out, and I needed somebody. I put on my story like, "Hey, I need a 145 pounder," and Gabriel Souza hooked me up with him. So That's how I got set up.
Gotcha. What's the chat think about the Giant Slayer, Connor?
Man, the chat's big fans of the Giant Slayer, and so am I. Ever since Emerald City, I've been saying we got to get this guy on. He's pretty much exactly what you look for in a representative of jiu-jitsu, originally supposed to be the small man sport, which, when you got stars like Gordon Ryan and Cyborg and all these, big guys, it's hard to really make that argument anymore. But, Esteban's going out there, showing what's up. He's taking on, the top-level guys, weight classes above. What more could you ask for? Chat loves him. Also, just a shout-out to O. Steve. He's being a comedian in the chat. Keep it up. He said, first, I want to give this gem to you. Levi Jones-Leary, could he be the Dennis Rodman of jiu-jitsu? And I think the answer is he has to be. But yeah, no, everyone loves Esteban.
I think Levi's got a long way to go before he's Dennis
Rodman. He needs to get a few more gauges and
Dennis
visit
Rodman
North
of
Korea.
jiu-jitsu is probably Herbert.
Ooh.
Dangerous.
Actually, Herbert might be the round art test. Or I'll give Herbert the round art test in the jiu-jitsu award.
You got an AK tattooed on your chest. That automatic round art test for me.
That sets you apart.
That's badass right there, man.
But let's keep it rolling. That's an incredible one. Kicking things off. Damian versus Esteban. But we got a couple more. Mike, what's the next one?
This next one is pretty crazy too. This girl, Brianna St. Marie, this girl from Canada. I've noticed she was since she was a purple belt. I saw her win double gold, I believe, at No-Gi Pans and tapped everybody. She's a finisher. She gets after it. Very nice girl. You would never suspect how savage she is on the mat from her personality, but big time finisher. Someone I wanted to get involved for a while. She just won the combat jiu-jitsu thing. I think the Medusa over the weekend, the tournament that had a bunch of good girls in there. She won that, slapped the shit out of some girls. And then she's going up against Bree Robertson from 10th Planet from the headquarters in LA. Eddie's really high on this girl. Eddie's been telling me about this girl for a while, about getting around. Says she's the next Grace Gundrum. We've seen her win some stuff on Fight to Win some matches. I mean, this is another one of two up-and-comers. This is just as exciting as Esteban versus Damian for me. We're going to kick this off. All three of these prelims really are guaranteed to be action. I can't wait to see it. But, yeah, this is a hell of a match. And this is, I believe, at 125 pounds, which is another, one of the next women's weight classes we're focusing on blowing up like we did with 115. So, yeah, I can't wait for this one.
Give me the match again. These girls kind of have similar names. What's the match now?
Brianna St. Marie. It's spelled like STE/Marie, and Bree Robertson. Bree Robertson's a girl from 10th Planet. Brianna St. Marie is from Brazilian top team up in Canada. And the two girls are going to get after, right? This is the type of people we need. We need people that are going to go out there and go after submissions, put on exciting matches. I mean, that's what we looked at the Who's on one earlier. We got a 47% finish rate over the last year since we started our new rules. So a lot of it has to do with the athletes that we're using. And you look at this undercard, it's all people who go for subs, right? That's who we're looking for.
Yeah, super sick to have the newly crowned Medusa champion kind of on there as well. What do you think about this matchup here, Corey?
Yeah, I've been following Bree Robertson for a while. She's got a really developed modern game, right? Great wrestling, great back tacks, really slick leg attacks. She has a really high submission rate from all the matches that I've seen from her all of last year and all of this year. And Brianna St. Marie seems to win everything, gi or no gi in the IBJJF circuit, especially no gi. But she does a lot of damage. She wins a lot by submission, and her performance in Medusa was really impressive as well. So really excited to see what's going to happen in this match. Not going to be a boring one, right? But both these girls are coming after it.
Yeah, it just seems like both these girls have just won so much. So it's hard for me to see who wins this one, because I've never really seen too much either of them in too many bad positions or anything like that. So I think it's a very, very evenly matched matchup. Connor, you want to weigh in on the second prelim of the night here?
Yeah, man. If you've been paying attention specifically to like the Fight to Win circuit, it's been hard not to notice Bree Robertson. She's been coming out pretty much since the beginning of 2020. It's just a very regular force on the show. Super excited to see her on there. We need more women's talent to show up and give us their personality and show that, man, they are just as exciting, if not, and oftentimes more exciting than the men. I think this is the perfect opportunity to show just that.
And this, Mike, you said this is a 125-pound match, Mike?
Yeah, 125.
So is there maybe even a kind of title implications, future title shot implications here? Could the winner here maybe be on the path to fighting either Fionn or Natalie?
I mean, 125 is going to get interesting. You got Fionn and Natalie throwing down. I mean, those guys, Natalie's 1-0 in the event. Fionn, obviously a legend, took second at ADCC. You got these girls, and I think there's some girls from the 115 bracket. I think Tubby hit one to do some matches at 125, and there's a bunch of other girls that could get in the mix. 125, I think, is going to be pretty damn exciting, about as exciting as 115 has been over the years. So it'll be interesting as this works out. We might have to do throw together some sort of tournament or something to decide who's the number one contender at 125. But yeah, we got to figure something out with that for sure.
Yeah, a lot of young talent, of course, in these divisions. So a lot of new blood in there. It's a lot of interesting matchups. Seeing the old guard versus the new guard. Just like 115, I think this 125 and even 135. These women's divisions, there's just a lot of influx of new talent, of new matches and stuff like that. So I think these are going to be some really exciting divisions going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I can think of 5'10" girls at 125 that really deserve a shot, deserve to be up in the mix there. I think it's going to be a really quickly flourishing, quickly developing division.
Hell yeah. All right, Mike, let's get to the final prelim of the night.
Final one is Pedro Moreno, a guy a lot of people have been asking to get on. He's going up against Hunter Colvin. This is a 205-pound light heavyweight match. I think they're both naturally a little bit smaller than that. I don't think either one of them is cutting weight. But, this is two guys who get after. Hunter Colvin, first time I saw him, he tapped Cody Steele at a Fight to Win before COVID, I think, in Dallas. He's a finisher. If you ever watch him compete, he really goes after subs. Pedro Moreno, he's a guy who had to pull out of the Who's on One championships. He was in 185 he could beat anybody. He's one of these guys, got one of these killer guillotines, can beat anybody at any moment. He's a beast, man. He really goes for his subs. He's perfect for this rule set. I mean, he's heel hooked Roberto a couple times. Got a good guillotine. We've seen him heel hook Roberto. Pedro Marino's probably got a really bright future in either middleweight or light heavyweight here. But Hunter Colvin's no joke. It's going to be interesting how this goes on. But all three of, I mean, I'll be surprised if all. I would bet on all three of these prelims and ending in a submission. I don't see how any of these people are going to go 15 minutes without one of them getting caught.
Heck yeah. Yeah, man. I think a lot of fans of the show know Pedro Marinho. He's been a staple around the scene for a very long time. You know, just down here in Houston, trains with Jacqueline and the guys in Houston, Texas at Gracie Baja. And yeah, man, this dude's been a killer. He's been a hammer for a long time. He's beat Roberto Jimenez a couple times, kind of been Roberto's kryptonite. You know, he's had good performances, you know, on a bunch of other shows as well. So really excited to get Pedro in the mix here. And then Hunter Colvin just looks like a dude that I don't want to grapple. He just looks like a guy that would not be super fun to grapple. He's very physical, very big dude. You know, I've seen him put the pace on a couple of people. He's got good wrestling. So yeah, this is a great matchup for Pedro and Hunter both, I think. What do you got here, Connor? I mean, Corey. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think we get that chippy energy from both these guys, right? Because I've seen Pedro when he gets turned up too, and it looks exactly like something you want to stay away from, right? He's got mean guillotines. I think we've talked enough about how vicious the guillotine is, but his foot locks, his ankle locks are like savage, and his wrestling is just, you know, he'll double leg you across the mat for the whole match if you want to play that wrestling game with him. So both these guys are going to come out with the right energy. I think it's going to be a great way to wrap up the prelims and kick off the main card.
Yeah, I love this one. What's the chat think about this one, Connor?
Man, I think we got Marv is a big Hunter Colvin fan on the Discord. A lot of guys are still banking on Pedro Marinho. I think he's had a great last year or two of competition. I think they both combine exactly, you know, the two most exciting styles of grappling, which is like, you know, wrestling, flying across the mat, and also like latching onto subs and never letting go. So, man, this is going to be fireworks. There's no way you can say, like, you know, if you're not subscribed to Flow and you watch all of the prelims, you're going to be ending on a banger, and you're going to have to sign up at that point. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so now that we got the full card, that's seven matches, 8 matches, full card for you. Remember, it's going down on a Wednesday, October 20th. Connor, what's the number one match you're looking forward to on that card?
Levi. We got to see what's happening with Levi. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got Levi Jones versus Oliver Taza.
What do you think, Mike? What's your favorite match on the card? What's the one that you're like, man, this one is just can't miss?
Fuck, it's tough. I mean, I won't count the Gordon match because it's not quite a real match. I mean, I'm just excited to see both Fion and Bia finally on this event. I'm really excited for both those. I'll go with Bia Mesquita. Bia Mesquita is a savage, kicks the shit out of girls on a regular basis. I'm really excited to see Bia Mesquita in these rules. She's a finisher. It's going to be tough to last with her for 15 minutes. I'll go with the main event with Bia Mesquita versus Louisa.
Corey, what do you got?
Right now, I'm all about the Fion and Natalie match. I think we've seen a lot from Natalie last year, right? She won pretty much everything there was to win last year, and always by submission, always in explosive fashion. But let's not forget just how dominant Fion can be when she's on, and I think she's going to come into this with one thing in mind, and that's one of these.
Yeah, fighting for this bantamweight belt, of course. I'm going to take Mikey versus Richard. You know, just a lot of question marks, of course, around Mikey. Mikey always a fan favorite, always one of our favorites. So excited to see how he bounces back, what he does, and it just obviously a huge opportunity for a guy like Richard to come out of here. If he upsets Mikey, if he beats Mikey, you know, he becomes a huge star. So a lot of upside for both these guys in that match. But like you guys said, man, all these matches are crazy. All these matches are good. We did it again. Mike did it again. Put together another sick Who's Number One card.
I think they're legit all good. Like, I know it sounds like I'm shilling my own product here, but it's like sometimes I put a card together and then when we get close to it, I'm like, I sort of wish I didn't make that one. Looking at this one, I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I don't know what the match of the night's going to be. They all had the possibility to just be the craziest match ever.
And we're doing submission bonuses still, kind of like how we always do. It's gonna be a fun show back at the Palmer Event Center here in Austin, Texas. Gonna be a crazy show.
Tickets available now. Tickets are only $50 now. We cut down the price. We're selling more and we're selling them cheaper. So only $50 to go to the event. It used to be $150 when we were doing it at the JW. So if you want to go, Wednesday, October 20th. It's on a Wednesday this time. $50 to come watch Gordon Ryan, Bia, Fionn, Mikey. All these people compete at the Palmer Event Center, same place as Who's Number One Championship. Come check it out.
Can't beat it, Connor. How do they get tickets?
Go to the link in our bio. If it's not up now, I'll put it up now. You guys can purchase. Come see your favorite athletes. It's going to be fire. Come say hi to us. Steve, Jose Becerra in the chat. They are your moderators. They got to come hang out for like a whole weekend of Who's Number One Championship. Ask them. It was a great time. They loved it. You'll love it too.
Heck yeah.
You guys want to fuck around with some Manscaped stuff? I'm looking at the options of the ad reads now. Want me to say some of this shit and you guys can react to it?
Sure.
Yep. Give it to us.
This is the type of stuff they want us to say. Have you ever tried to trim your balls and it turned into a Freddy Krueger film? Luckily, Manscaped is here to save that. What? Who the fuck does that happen to?
That's just kind of like a universal.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
You've never ended
Man,
covered in blood.
You guys haven't spent enough time in the ER, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing something wrong if you're just destroying your nuts when you're shaving. But if you've ever done that, luckily Manscaped is here to save the day and make sure you're smelling fresh with their new refined body wash, fellas. Oh, how does the body wash save you from turning your balls into a Freddy Krueger film? I'm lost. Fellas, the ladies love their signature scent and will scare away those vampires. What the fuck? All right. Well, that's an interesting one. So if you wash your balls with this, it'll help you if they're a Freddy Krueger film and it'll scare away vampires. All right. Let's see if they got any other Halloween.
I'm sold.
Here's one.
Yeah, it turns you into Van Helsing. That's pretty dope.
Yeah. Scares away vampires from your balls. It's a full moon out and the werewolf in your pants is howling. Time to tackle that problem with the Lawnmower 4.0. All right.
This is phenomenal.
It's Halloween, you know. They're leaning into Halloween.
If I ever lose this job, I'm going straight to Manscaped. I just want to be part of that copywriting team.
Love it. It's like a fun job.
Yeah.
Manscaped. Hell yeah.
Dope.
All right, that's all the Halloween themed Manscaped ad reads we got. But yeah,
there's no Jason Voorhees.
We should write some more Halloween themed stuff now that we know that's what they're looking for. We should come up with something next week.
Yeah.
Just throw these all in the the Halloween basket. Leave it outside.
Mm-hmm. Take one.
Take one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seal the deal with Manscaped's liquid formulations. Jesus. Their crop preserver ball deodorant and crop reviver ball toner will make sure your pumpkins stay fresh. Trust me when I say this, fellas. Your balls will thank you. All right. I think that's enough Manscaped for today. What is it? Manscaped.com?
Manscaped.
Code Who's Number One. Code WNO for 20% off and free shipping.
Hell yeah.
We're talking a lot about the new champions coming up, right? We're crowning 3 new champions on Wednesday, October 20th. But want to just bring this up. One of our reigning champions had some words with Balea, with Ricardo Amendolia earlier on this week. We had Tim Spriggs talking to Balea.
Tim Spriggs been killing it out there lately.
He's got the mic thing
down. The victory tour.
Huh?
The victory tour has been killing it, man.
But he had some words for Gordon Ryan and talking a little bit about some potential matchups in his future.
Differently, you tell us about this Tim Spriggs of 2021 compared to 2019. How would you take a match like that?
Everything would be totally different because I'm a totally different grappler and a totally different person. I know for a fact I will finish him. I will finish Gordon Ryan. I'm a totally different animal. And I think he knows that. And I think that's part of the reason why he's avoiding the match. And I think I'm going to dominate every facet of the game. Before, I didn't have this kind of focus. And mentally, physically, emotionally, I'm way stronger. I'm just going to say it like that. This is my time. And I want Gordon Ryan. I want Andre Galvao. And those are the only 2 matches that I want. So it's going to be a totally different thing. I'm going to prove that I'm the best in the world. And there's a new king.
Damn.
Man, when you win the belt, you get to call the shots, huh?
Oh, dang. I will finish him. Whoa.
Gonna finish him. He's the new king. God damn. Tim can write a fucking promo, that's for sure.
Wow. What do we think about a Tim Gordon matchup? That'd be insane.
That's heavy.
He's kind of got to happen, right?
He also called out Galvao. I mean,
Or
he's not just
Tim
taking a shot
Galvao.
at Gordon. This is
kind of retired. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, when Tim won the championship last week, a lot of people tried to jump to the front of the line and started tagging us and stuff. Hey, let me fight for the heavyweight title. Yada yada yada. It's like, nah, bro, you gotta earn your way up there. I don't care what you did somewhere else. Like, you gotta earn that. Gordon Ryan is 4-0 on the event. Craig Jones is 4-0 on the event. Those are the only guys that I see that it makes sense to go with Tim right now for the heavyweight title. The other person after that would be Kynan, who's I think 6 on the who's number 1 pound for pound list, right after Gordon and Craig. But Kynan just lost to him, so he's obviously got to go get another match. Gordon's the match that makes the most sense, right? I mean, he was the king of the heavyweight division on who's number 1 before we had a belt, and now he had to sit out. But Tim wins it. Tim calls out Gordon there, called him out in the post-match thing. I mean, I think it's a match we got to see probably early next year.
Dude, Tim Gordon has like me goosebumps. I'm so jacked up about that match. That shit would be so hype. I mean, just the promo, just them jawing back and forth at each other. Whew.
Yeah, that's really like 2 matches in one, right? You get the verbal throwdown followed up by some, let's hope, some sick jiu-jitsu.
Not many people I feel like can really kind of spar with Gordon in that way, but Tim seems to be ready for it. Hell yeah.
Tim can hop on the mic with the best of them.
Blast Double Poppy, hell yeah.
What are all those names? Read. Go through the nicknames that Tim made up for himself. In that.
Dude, I love it. The Choke Dealer, Blast Double Poppy, Best Match Machine. I'm on the Tim Spriggs train here, man.
Mushmaster.
Mushmaster, of course. You can't forget the Mushmaster. He's got all the nicknames. Anyone you want, Tim's got it. Tim's got the nickname already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, go listen to that full segment though, the full interview
yeah.
with Balea and Tim Spriggs. It's a great interview. He talks all about his championship, all about his rise to power.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Tim's great on the mic, man. We got to get him to write some Manscaped shit for us. But you got anything else you want to talk to before we get out of here? In about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Connor, you got anything? What's going on in the chat? Anything? Any questions from the chat? Anything burning that they want to talk about?
I don't see anything big. If I'm missing it, I'm sorry. You guys can just hop in my DMs and tell me I'm a horrible moderator afterwards. But we're about to head off to Dallas for IBJJF Nogi Worlds. That should be exciting. Hopefully people are tuning in for that. Maybe that will feed a few Who's Number One cards in the future. Point out some good talent for us. That's kind of how we used it in the past.
If you're competing in Nogi Worlds and you want to be on Who's Number One, do something I'm going to remember. Do something Mike's going to remember, right? Don't go out there and win by a decision. Don't go out there and win by an advantage. Go get some submissions and
that's how
get yourself on.
That's how Pato got in the Who's Number One championship,
Exactly.
right? We saw him at Nogi Pans not only win, but win by 4 submissions. And we're like, God damn, let's put this guy in the tournament, right? And then he goes to the tournament and he wins $7,500 plus I think a couple sub bonuses. So I mean that's how he got in there. So we're looking for people. You know, jiu-jitsu is not MMA. We don't have the benefit of people punching and kicking each other in the head. Anybody could watch that. We need people that are exciting. We don't have people who are just trying to just eke out a win. We need people who are going out there. There's a big movement in jiu-jitsu of people who they're disappointed if they win and they don't get a submission, right? The Gordon Ryan mentality, the Marigali mentality, Mikey mentality. There's a lot of people like that, and that mentality is growing, and that's what we need on these pro events. Going out and putting out pro events, being entertaining is just as exciting as winning. That's what we need.
Absolutely, growing the sport bigger and bigger. We need you guys to come along with us. So definitely tune in. We got so much stuff planned. Who's Number One? Like I said, the train keeps rolling. We got other events. We got so much sick content. We just put up a sick Tim Spriggs video. Make sure you guys check that out too. So much stuff going on. Make sure you guys are locked in to FloGrappling to check it all out. Connor, any last words?
Don't come find me at at Worlds to get your picture on the Instagram. That's all I got. Don't do that.
Corey?
What he said.
Yeah. What are you going to do if they do that? You're just going to back down and put their picture on the Instagram. What are you going to do?
He's going to smack him down with that Texas State champion.
Yep, you're going to the gulag. That's what's happening.
Blast Double Poppy over here.
Yeah.
Got the Blast Double.
Next week we're kicking off an hour earlier than usual, right?
Okay, yep.
2:30 Eastern.
Yep, so we'll be a little earlier.
Next week. Manscaped, go shave your balls. God bless everybody. Take it easy.
Oh, see you guys later.